It probably only lasted 6 weeks. So look, at the time I was 26, I was broke as a joke. It was a huge investment for me to go and spend, a few $100s on Botox. So I was incredibly disappointed once the results really faded after that 6 weeks. And I really didn't know what to do. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to launch my first ever skincare giveaway competition with a range of Paula's Choice skincare. Essentially, it's going to be my favorite products that have really helped my skin over the years. So please keep an eye out on my channel. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook at The Skin Code by Cody so that you can stay up to date, and I will let you know as soon as that competition goes live. Welcome to The Skin Code by Cody, where I review skincare, at-home beauty devices, as well as professional in-clinic treatments. I would love it if you could support my channel by hitting that subscribe button, liking this video, and clicking the bell to request the notifications. Today I'm going to actually be talking about, my experience with Botox. And, now that I have been using Botox for 10 years, I thought I would share the things that I've really learned over the years and what those effects have been on my skin. I still find it really interesting that a lot of people, whether if they are into skincare and beauty or if they're just well known, I find it really interesting that there's still a lot of stigma about, getting Botox or getting work done. I see so many people who, lie about it. And, it's one thing if people don't want to share what they've had done, but to deny that you've had something done when you have clearly had it done, I think is very dangerous. Obviously, we all know it is extremely common within the beauty and skincare industry, where we have constant reminders of, we're confronted with a lot of images of complete perfection. And at the end of the day, it's so dangerous to really compare our reflection in the mirror to someone who has had multiple surgeries, countless visits to dermatologists for, professional lasering treatments, skincare, Botox, fillers, professional photographers, lighting, everything else that can really skew the image of how someone looks, and also highly retouched images. I'm always blown away that when we go into major department stores, no matter which country you're in, if you go into a major department store and you go into and look at the major skincare brands, the images we see are people wearing a full face of makeup in professional lighting. The photo is completely airbrushed, and we are expected to believe that we can achieve those results if we use those products, and it simply is not true. But I really think that large corporations and even small ones, any brand where you are really promoting beauty products, whether it be skincare, cosmetics, whatever it is, I think there should be some more honesty in terms of what impact the right skincare or makeup can really have on your skin. Because the images we've seen, or that we constantly see, are not a result of the makeup. They are not the result of the skincare that they're promoting. All right, so back to the topic of what I'm actually here to talk about, and that is my experience with Botox over the last 10 years. It's important to point out that Botox is simply one brand of several. There are a few companies in the market that offer anti-wrinkle injections. Saying that, Botox is obviously the most popular in the market, which is why most people have heard about Botox, but they may not have heard about some of the other brands that also offer anti-wrinkle injections. So I'm really not going to spend too much time explaining exactly what Botox is and what it does, but just very quickly, Botox is a drug that doctors have been using to treat wrinkles, usually in the face. However, it can also be used to treat a number of other things, such as spasms, so either facial spasms or spasms in other parts of the body. It can also be used to address concerns from extreme underarm sweating, so you can actually get injections under the arm to treat that. But obviously, the most common use for Botox or any anti-wrinkle injection is to remove the wrinkles or reduce the appearance of wrinkles on our faces. Botox works by blocking the signals from the nerves in our face to the muscles by being relaxed. So the first time I got Botox was in 2011. So back then in Australia, to get Botox, you had to see a doctor. There were no, nurses weren't at the time. Well, when I was looking into it, there was no one else that would do it except for a doctor. So that's where I got referred to. I'd started to get a little bit concerned about some wrinkles around my eyes. So I, had used every skincare product. I was already using, at-home beauty devices, red light therapy, everything I could get my hands on to address that. So Botox was the logical next step for me to really treat my concerns of the wrinkles on my face. So just very quickly, there are two types of wrinkles. We have dynamic wrinkles, which are the wrinkles that we see when we are making a facial expression. So if we're smiling, if we're frowning, and you see those wrinkles form on the face, obviously that is a dynamic wrinkle. A static wrinkle is as we start to get a little bit older and those wrinkles really set in, even when we're not making a facial expression, you can start to see those wrinkles on the face. Botox can help to some extent both types of wrinkles, but it's really targeted at reducing the appearance of dynamic wrinkles so that when we are smiling or frowning or, raising our eyebrows so that we don't see those wrinkles as we make those facial expressions. So the first thing I wanted to share about my experience back in 2011 when I first got Botox was my main concern was the wrinkles right under, directly under the eye. I really didn't like those wrinkles when I smiled. I guess I had a fantastic, I have a fantastic life. And at the time I was smiling a lot, laughing a lot. I really did not like those wrinkles directly under my eyes. So it's really important to point out Botox cannot prevent those wrinkles directly under the eye because it's actually not a muscle contraction that is causing that wrinkle. It is simply as you smile and your cheek raises. So if I show you here, your cheek raises. I'm not moving a muscle in my face, but a wrinkle will form because my cheek is pushing that skin up. And as that skin, creases, it will cause a small wrinkle. So that was one of the first things, I guess something that I was a little bit disappointed in with Botox is that it couldn't, completely remove every single wrinkle I had. After I had the Botox injected around my eyes, it was about 2 weeks before I saw any reduction in wrinkles. So it really took a long time to take effect on me. And then even once it had taken effect, it probably only lasted 6 weeks. So look, at the time I was 26, I was broke as a joke. It was a huge investment for me to go and spend, a few $100s on Botox. So I was incredibly disappointed once the results really faded after that 6 weeks. And I really didn't know what to do. I remember talking to some friends of mine and telling them how disappointed I was with the results from Botox. And a friend of mine actually suggested that I tried a product called Dysport. Now, Dysport is one of the other companies that also produce an anti-wrinkle injection product. And essentially what I was told is there are some differences between the results from both products, and the main one being with Dysport, you actually need more of the product injected for it to have the same result. So I was very interested at the time to look into it, give that a try, to see what result that would have on my skin. So not long later, I went off, I found a place that did dysport, and I went and got dysport injected around my eyes. Now, the results were significantly better for me, but I do want to be very upfront. That varies person to person. So with the dysport, I got my results in 2 or 3 days. I could see the full effect of the dysport. I saw a massive reduction in the movement and the contraction of the wrinkles around my eyes. And it lasted probably 4 to 5 months. So I was incredibly happy with the result. It was about 25% cheaper in price to the Botox. So all around, I love the product. However, as I mentioned, it does vary person to person. So they are the results I had. However, my sister reacts much better to Botox. So she's had Botox in her eyes, forehead, and she finds that it works much better than dysport. It lasts longer in her skin than dysport, so she's much kind of happier using Botox. Another thing that I did notice between the main differences in my skin and my face from Botox to dysport is dysport still allowed some movement. It just didn't it didn't kind of completely freeze my face the way the Botox did. So my face still moved, the wrinkles just didn't contract the way they normally would. So it was much more subtle. Now, one of the most common areas people go and get Botox or dysport or some form of anti-wrinkle injections is into their forehead. I have an incredibly lazy forehead. I've never had much movement, excuse me, I've never had much movement in my forehead. So it really wasn't until my early 30s when I kind of really wanted to start getting some dysport in my forehead. So now I do tend to get dysport around my eyes. They do a tiny little dot, so 1 to 2 units, just in the center directly under my eye, and they do my whole forehead. Now, with the bit under my eye, just so you know, always take the advice of your injector. A lot of injectors won't inject there because there are several risks involved. So I certainly suggest that you have a conversation with them about those potential risks. There are risks with any type of injection. Whenever there is a needle going into your skin, of course, there are all sorts of risks around infection and a number of other things, particularly with anti-wrinkle injections. So always speak to an expert about that. I tend to get that tiny bit under my eye. From what my injector has told me is that just slightly relaxes that part under my eye and drops that little bit further to open my eye up a little bit more. But look, to tell you the truth, over the 10 years that I've been getting it, there's been a lot of times when I couldn't find an injector that was willing to inject under the eye, so I wasn't getting it. And I haven't really noticed much of a difference with or without it. So, it obviously is going to vary from one person to another, but for me, it doesn't really do much. So I'm not really disappointed not getting it. When I first started getting Botox back in 2011, even though Botox and anti-wrinkle injections had been around for years and years and years at that stage, there was still a lot of people, really challenging anti-wrinkle injections and saying, making comments like, oh, well, we don't know the long-term risks and what potential long-term side effects are there going to be for people who get anti-wrinkle injections over an extended period of time. And that's why I thought I would really share this video for anyone that has been kind of on the fence thinking about, potentially getting anti-wrinkle injections. I thought I would share my experiences with you so you can, use that to make an informed decision for you. I can tell you over the 10 years, there has probably been maybe 18 months of 2 years of time that has passed where I decided to stop getting anti-wrinkle injections. There wasn't really a particular reason for it other than I got sick of having to make the appointments and go to the appointments. That sounds really lazy, but it's a huge commitment for me to, to have to book in somewhere, go there at a particular time. So yeah, for a period of time, I just decided not to get anything done. One of the other topics that was always discussed back in 2011 when I was getting it done for that first couple of times was there were people that would say that if you get the anti-wrinkle injections now, then that will stop wrinkles from forming because the skin won't be contracting, that muscle won't be contracting, and it won't be forming the wrinkle. Now look, again, I can only talk about my experience, and I would say, honestly, that has been my experience. Because I do now get the injections around my eyes and across my forehead, I can tell you I have not really had any new wrinkles form in those areas. So certainly directly under my eyes where Botox and anti-wrinkle injections can't prevent those wrinkles. Of course, they have continued to age. There have been other parts of my face that have continued to age, as is perfectly normal. But I would be very confident in saying that the anti-wrinkle injections have really helped stop those more permanent static wrinkles from forming on my face. I'd love to hear from you if you have been getting, anti-wrinkle injections, whether it's Botox, dysport, or whatever product you've been getting, and you've had a different experience to me, or if you prefer Botox, please comment below and let me know. I'm always interested to hear the different experiences that people have with these types of treatments. If there are any specific topics, whether it be a skincare product or a professional treatment or a beauty device that you'd love me to have a look at, please comment below or reach out to me on my Facebook or Instagram at The Skin Code by Cody, and I will definitely look into that for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that gave you a little bit of insight on, my experience with anti-wrinkle injections. Again, if you have any questions or would like any more information about that, please comment below or reach out to me on social media at The Skin Code by Cody, and I will definitely get back to you as soon as possible. I'd love it if you could support my channel by hitting that subscribe button, the like button, clicking the bell to request notifications, so then you'll be notified whenever I publish new content. If you're happy to share my video on your social media, I would really appreciate it.